One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
I'm Pat Miller. I own Small Step Solutions. This is my company. My job helps business owners who are too busy to think, solve problems, and come up with great big ideas to help their businesses grow. The one thing that you need when you do a business, we all know this, is revenue. One of my mentors is here tonight, Tom, and he always told me revenue first, right? So that's where the concept is. No matter what you do for a living, we're all in sales. So I thought for the first group for Brand Crafted, we should probably get together 3 incredibly talented sellers so we can ask them a bunch of questions so we can all learn something about how to be better sellers and make more money, because that's what we want to talk about. So some of the concepts that come naturally to sellers that scare the heck out of people like me, a non-seller but a business owner: cold calling, rejection, asking for what you're worth, standing firm on your price, getting appointments, what kind of questions do you ask? These 3 are killers. They know how to do that. They're going to give us some ideas tonight. So why don't we introduce them from your right to left. We'll start with Sarah. Sarah Bauer, she's the territory manager for Heartland Payment Systems. She's our guest. Give her a big round of applause. In the middle, we have Alissa Weber, who's the executive director of the Wauwatosa Historical Society. Brand new gig. Congratulations. And then on the end, Jeff Solie. He's the senior account executive at Intercom Radio in Milwaukee. So Jeff, thanks for coming. Okay. So I want to start with a question that when we had our talk before the presentation, one thing jumped out, and Jeff was very opinionated about this. And
what?
Yeah, we'll find that Jeff has some opinions. And he was very adamant about one thing. So Jeff, there's one thing for people that want to sell better. What is it?
The one thing that Pat alludes to is the ability to shut up.
I know how to work mics. Sorry, Jeff. Go ahead.
Ooh, that was well done.
Yeah, thank you.
Broke the silence. Business owners, less experienced sellers, people who don't live and die by your sales numbers. In business, all of those people have to sell. Everybody's in sales. To Pat's earlier point, the mantra that I live by is really similar to Pat's and Tom's that he referenced. Revenue solves everything. Revenue solves everything. So everybody sells, but some people aren't that good at it, some people aren't that skilled at it, some people aren't that studied at it. And the fall down that I see for most of the people that aren't studied at it is they don't know when to shut up. They don't know when to close their mouth and let the other person start talking. Everybody hears in a sales process that listening is more important than speaking. There is absolutely no way to listen while you're talking. This is my opinion. That is why I was very adamant about it. It's the number one thing as a professional seller who is pretty good at this sales thing. As a professional seller, it's the number one thing that I see people who aren't 100% professional sellers do wrong. Not knowing when to shut up.
So, Alissa, do you think that people keep on talking because they're nervous or they're self-conscious about what they're trying to move?
I do. I think that you're excited about your product. You got into it because you believe in it and you love it and you know why you're here. And that's why you're trying to tell this person all these wonderful benefits and features that you can provide to them. But they don't give a shit. They have their own needs. They have I always say pain, and I hate that, but they have a pain. They came to you because they have a need and a want. And if you're not going to listen to that need and want, you're going to go on and on about your benefits and features. You're never going to find out what their actual pain is. So I used to have a little tip that I did with one of my sales reps where I would itch my nose if she just kept going and going and going. Do one of these, and after a while I'd have this big red mark. But it's just so super important to just listen. Ask them questions. Don't talk over them. And see why they're actually there to meet you.
It's huge. So one of the things that we coach in our team and really that you have to live by is who's here has heard of always be closing, ABC?
Oh, yeah.
You heard that? Okay.
Absolutely.
So instead of being ABC, always be closing. In other words, talking. Always be curious. So curiosity will continue for you to still keep the conversation going, But instead of you going, I'm wonderful, I'm great, here's my fantastic products, blah, 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 you're making it about them and not about you. And it's a good way to keep that conversation going, directing the conversation, but also keeping control of the conversation and not letting it go off the rails.
Yeah.
So if you're, instead of you saying things, ask open-ended questions. Not yes or no questions, but open-ended questions that keeps that going and pointing that customer in the direction that you want them to go. So always be curious, not closing.
Great stuff. So let's talk big picture. So Alissa, let's talk about the mindset, because the three of you selling comes naturally. You're really, really good at it. I need to sell now that I own my own business. So how should people think about selling as a general activity? Because for some of us, me included, it's pretty terrifying, actually.
It is scary.
Yeah.
And I think all of you are in a business because something prompted you, something interested you, something you knew you'd be good at. You're there because you love it. You're doing it because you love it. So I think, as we all think, well, they're going to love it too because I love it so much. Oh my God, I love it so much and I'm so good at it. I know what you want. I know what they want. I know what they want. But that's all great and wonderful. But I think coming into it, and again, people are reaching out to you. They're not just reaching out to be your friend. They can do that any other time. They can be your friend outside of your product. But if they're reaching out to you and saying, and I say this because I can see Gina, she just posted an amazing shirt on Facebook that will be mine. Oh yes, it will be mine. I said I love that shirt. I'm not saying I love that shirt because I want to be a nice friend. I'm saying I love that shirt because at some point it will be on my body. So with that being said, I have a need and a want. So as you guys are business sellers, think of those needs and wants and pains that people have. And like I said before, discovery. Discover who this person is and what they want. You guys are passionate about what you're doing and what you are selling. Allow yourself to discover them and why they want to contact you and work with you.
But that's counterintuitive. To walk into a sales meeting, if you're not a seller, to think, I'm just going to ask questions and be really curious about them, like you said, Sarah, that doesn't come natural to people that don't sell. I mean, that's an aha moment for me. We're 5 minutes in. It's like, oh, yeah, that makes all the sense in the world. Is that what you find when you're trading your sellers, that it doesn't seem to be natural to be curious and be quiet and listen?
Yeah, because you just want to go in there and throw up all over them, literally. Like, that's what it ends up being. And you can always kind of tell someone who's more prepared versus not. And it really comes down to preparation. So you walk into a meeting and you can just tell the person's just there to give you the spiel they gave to 8 other people right before. You can tell. So, it's not going to come natural. It's going to require practice and it's going to require preparation. But just like anything, whether you're walking into a sales deal or heck, you're just having coffee with somebody, the more prepared you are, the more professional, the better you're going to show up. So it can be very simple. One of my power questions that I always ask, it's a power question. You can use this in anything. It doesn't matter what you do, whether you're having coffee with someone, you're selling a product, it doesn't even matter what the product is what would you like to get out of our meeting today? Simple question, right? It's not a yes or no answer. And then you say, what else? And then you say, what else? Because you know what? You just made that whole conversation about them. It's a pretty easy question to ask, right? You don't have to practice too much at it, but you go back to listening, right? And you make it about them. So it doesn't have to be super overcomplicated, but it does require practice. It does require some preparation.
I've heard you mention power questions before.
Power questions.
Come on, give us some more, because those are good, right?
That's a good power
Those are
question.
good, right? Come on.
Why did you agree to meet with me today? It's a great one. And then towards the end of an appointment, another really good one that you use, and it's kind of hard to ask because it's kind of awkward. You kind of go, what questions didn't I ask that I should have asked? It's kind of a weird question, right?
It's a great question.
But it's a great question because you might catch that person off guard and they might actually stop for a minute and they might tell you some magical thing that would actually allow you to close that deal. Or to move that meeting to the next step, or introduce you to somebody that you didn't think you were going to be introduced to. So I'd say those are probably my 3 most favorite power questions to ask.
Well, those things don't come up often if you meet with a lot of salespeople, and I haven't had the pleasure of selling with you two before, but I've been at a sales meeting with Jeff before, and one of your calling cards is saying things that people don't expect. That throws people off their game, and it really takes their guard down. Are you doing that on purpose?
Absolutely, and that is one of my favorite questions. Is there anything that I didn't ask that I should have asked? It's absolutely one of my favorite questions. Power questions between sellers, they don't vary much. Power questions are power questions, and sales questions are sales questions. On this topic, though, the one point that I wanted to make, that I really wanted to add in, is when you're in a sales presentation, nobody cares about you. You're there to get a job done, you're there to get information across, but you're there to gather information more than anything else. They're not meeting with you because you are cool. They're meeting with you because they have a need. And your job isn't there to present how cool you are. Your job is to present that you can fill a need. You can't fill a need until you know what it is.
Yeah.
Silence, and then realizing that it's not about you. You're not there for you. They don't care. They don't care how cool you are. You can become friends later.
Once you perform for them, once you sell the thing that they want.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
All right, so we got to talk about the one word. There's a word when we talk about sales that's terrifying, right? No. Right? No.
No, it's the second best word in sales.
Okay, what?
It's the second best word in sales, so that's not my question. I'm sorry.
What? Okay, what?
Elaborate.
Yeah,
The
go
best
on.
word in
Elaborate.
sales is yes.
Of course, yes.
The
yes,
second
use my
best
money,
word
yes.
in sales is no.
The second best word in sales is no.
Absolutely, because you can move on. You can just move on. Yeah, it's the second best word in sales. The words in sales that are, I'm going to think about it. Ooh, I got to have more information. I'm in analysis paralysis. I can't really make up my mind. I'm going to have to defer to a different person. I'm going to have to defer to a higher authority. I'm going to just da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Best question, or best answer you can possibly get, yeah. Second best answer, no. And as soon as you understand that it's the second best answer that exists, you're far better off in sales. I'm so sorry to jump to
No, that's a great explanation. That's a great explanation. I have a colleague in Minnesota that has a really good way of tackling that. So at the beginning of an appointment, if you are looking to close the deal, if you sell a product that could be closed in one call, this is how he does it. I'm going to steal it right from Dan Martinez. He's a great guy. He basically said, he'll say it this way, all right, so at the end of our meeting today, I'm going to ask you the question if we want to move ahead. It's either going to be a yes, and this is what we need to do, to move forward. It's a no, and that's cool. Like, it can be a no, or it's going to be, it's a maybe, but we're going to set an appointment today from this appointment before I walk out the door. So you've set the tone in the beginning. They're thinking about it so that at the very end of the appointment, when you ask that question, you're not taking them off guard. It's a yes, a no, or if it is that maybe, put a date on it, put a follow-up time. Because nothing worse than going, okay, we'll get back to you in like a week or so or whatever, and then you're constantly chasing them. So, yep, that's how I tackle that one. But you're dead on. No is the second best.
second best word in sales.
Setting those expectations, though, going into the meeting. This is what's going to happen. It's either this or this or this. And is that, managing people and like watching people's accounts, or is that just being experienced and knowing what that is? Because hearing the word no is like, if you're not used to it, it's like, oh, I'm a terrible person. I'm going to go home.
It is. So, it's, no hurts our ego, right? It does. It totally does. And it's not something that's going to come naturally to every single person out there. And even asking that question right there, some of you might be going, oh my God, I couldn't do that. That feels so awkward putting someone on the spot. Well, in a sales role or a business owner's role or a CFO or whatever role that you play in your company, your time is money, right? So by not setting that expectation on the front end to the person who you're meeting with, you're saying to that person that my time is not valuable. That's really what it is. So being prepared and having kind of those pre-qualifying questions and conversations really help move it along. So, yeah.
Now, one of you had mentioned it, and I forget which one. I think it was Sarah, but I might have been Alissa. I think one of you had mentioned it. Techniques that how you train people to get used to hearing the word no. That when you hear no, that's a good thing. So go get no's. And I forget, counting no's? Who was talking about counting no's?
That was me.
Was that you? Can you explain what that is? Because that like blew my mind when you mentioned it.
So, and we're going to talk about it a little later. Go for the No is a book that talks about training yourself to hear no. So a different kind of no is when we're prospecting, right? When we're learning, going out there trying to get a new customer and being really, really fearful that we're going to get a no. One of the fun things that a teammate of mine actually started this, we actually have a day, instead of how many yeses we're going to get, we're going to go for the no. We're going to see how many no's we can get. Because what's ultimately going to happen? If you're going to be cold calling or prospecting on the phone, for example, you're going to hear a lot of no's. Eventually, you're going to hear a yes. So instead of focusing so much on the positive and then only getting the negative, you kind of reverse it. You kind of it's all a mind game. It's all a mind game.
Have you done anything like that, Alissa?
Yeah, and I think when you get the no, it's okay to ask why. Like, why are you telling me no? If you don't mind me asking, why is it a no? I would love to learn because I'm always learning and I'm always trying to better my business and move forward. So I would appreciate your feedback and why you're saying no. And they're always like, oh, well, no, because I always say no isn't personal. They're not saying no to you because they don't like you as a person. They're saying no to you because they feel like at the moment they don't need your product or your service. That's how I always get over oh, they told me no, they hate me, like they don't like me as a person. That's not it. They're saying no because for some odd reason there's a block. So for you to ask them why, it kind of throws them off their game a little bit. And they're like, oh, well, it's really because, Tom is on vacation in Florida and I can't get an answer and he needs to approve this invoice. And I'm like, okay, no problem. So you're telling me that once Tom gets back, we can chat again. Let's set that appointment. Yep. So it's just kind of one of those things that when they do say no, say, hey, no problem. If you don't mind me asking, and go then ask why they said no.
When you do that, how often do they give you a legitimate reason?
I would say 90%.
90%?
It's only been that one asshole. He's like, I told you no. You don't want to take my no? And I'm like, you know what? Maybe we should break up right now. I'm not feeling the connection. Yes.
The asking that question, the way that everybody phrases it differently, and the way that I phrase it, because I'm in a creative space. When I'm selling things, I'm selling ideas. I'm selling ways to market your business. It's an intangible. It's not a product. No one's going to go out to the store and see my thing that I just sold them. So because it's an intangible, I always ask, what are you saying no to? Just let me make sure I understand you correctly. And JPat's going to laugh because that's one of my most famous lines. Let me make sure I understand you correctly. You're saying no, but what are you saying no to? Are you saying no to me? Are you saying no to my idea? Are you saying no to the medium? Are you saying no to the budget? Are you saying no to the idea of marketing this particular product in a certain way? What are you saying no to? It's just a different way of asking that same question.
But kind of jump back a few steps. Really, what is no? I'm guessing everyone in this room kind of has that twinge when you hear no. I'll be totally transparent here. Up until a couple of years ago, I had never had a cold call in my life. Ooh. Ever. And I was like deathly afraid of picking up the phone or walking into a business. And I sell B2B and, hi, can you buy my product or service? I mean, I was just so afraid of it. It was just, I was literally frozen in my footsteps, and it was just awful. And really, what does it really come down to? I'm afraid that they're going to say no to me, right? That's what it is.
Yeah,
so
right.
I'm afraid to pick that phone up and make the call because I'm afraid it's about me. Well, not really, right? To your point, it's not really about that. And so I'll take a tiny little reference from the book that I mentioned earlier. A toddler wants candy at dinner time. I have 2 toddlers. So, Mom, can I have a piece of candy? No. Mom, can I have a piece of candy? No. Mom, if I eat 2 bites of my fruit, can I have a piece of candy? No. What do you end up doing eventually? Yes! My toddler is not afraid to hear a no. My toddler gets no over and over and over again. Where in our life did we grow up where we were afraid to hear no? And you kind of put it in perspective like that and go, you know what? I can go get some no's today. I'm fine. My 3-year-old can handle it. I can do it. Yep, he's clapping. It's true. It's true. So even just kind of those of you who are thinking, oh, I've never cold called, I suck at prospecting, this is just not for me, put that into perspective. The toddlers can do it, you guys can do it.
Well, we can't get the no if we don't have the meeting. So let's talk about cold calling a little bit, because all of us are here because we want to make more money, which means more relationships, which means more meetings. So Alissa, tell us about getting the meeting, getting the appointment. Hi, I'm selling a thing. Can we meet? Like, how do you go about getting that cold call done?
I love cold calling, so I'm a big weirdo. I think it's just really getting, again, you don't call and be like, hey, I'm Alissa. I'm with the Wauwatosa Historical Society, and I was wondering, no, again, nobody cares. Nobody cares. They appreciate what you're doing, but they really don't care. So call and ask them what they are doing. What are they promoting? Like if I would be calling Abby, like, hey, Abby, Stories Frame Photography, what are some of your frustrations right now in the business? What do you need help with? And she would be like, well, I don't know, it's wintertime. Nobody's booking their senior pictures right now. I'm trying to get things going. Whatever it may be, but that's discovery. Then you start discovering things. What are her needs and wants? But with cold calling, I kind of have a schedule where I have an Excel sheet and I get all the clients in and I do that first phone call. And no one usually picks up. And I leave that message. Hey, it's Alissa. Just call in, seeing what you guys are up to. If you want to give me a call back and we can chat and meet for coffee, that'd be great. I don't hear from them, so I send an email. Kind of a similar format, open-ended question. Hey, wondering if we can meet, have coffee, etc. I go back, phone, email, and then I do what a few of you that I see out here have done, which I love, mail a letter. You can still mail a letter. You can put a stamp on it, and people like it.
Use a pen.
And you can write with your own penmanship and not print it from a computer, and it's beautiful. And
I even brought one.
Jeff has one for an example. So people do that. I'm looking at one again. I just called her out before.
Do we all do that?
We don't. I do
you
that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my gosh, that's one thing. It's 100% in common.
Yes.
With your panelists, we all mail letters.
I
See,
keep
thank
blank
you.
envelopes,
Written,
stamps, and blank
mail.
cards in my car.
And the biggest thing is if you don't hear from these people after a phone call, email, phone, letter, email, you can break up with them, and they're not ready for it. And it's amazing. So you can say in an email or in a voicemail, "Hi, Tom. I'm getting the sense that we're never going to work together. No problem. I was just hoping we could quickly chat." And honestly, 96% of the time, I get a phone call back. No, we were on vacation. We were for 6 months? Okay, but no problem. Honestly, it works. Where they're like, "Oh my gosh, this girl totally thinks that I'm legit not interested." It's okay. And you can break up with people. It's all right. It's really okay. So it's kind of a sense where I'm getting the sense that you and I, our businesses, won't work together. No problem. Please let me know how I can improve. And you will get a response. It works.
So you're saying call, email, letter, guilt trip. That works.
That works.
Like that.
And it's
Right?
amazing.
Or
Yes.
show up with food.
Or show up with food.
All right, tell us more about that, because people do that too. You use that trick?
Oh, totally. So if I'm out prospecting and I don't know them and I walk in the door, you're going to be met with resistance, right? You've got the receptionist, her hands are crossed. They're trained to be the gatekeeper.
Goalie.
Show up with food. Valentine's Day, walk around Valentine's Day candy. Easter's coming up, the best candy holiday of the year, in my opinion. Go get a bunch of little Easter candies, put them in little baggies. Hi! Hold it up front. Hold it
Gummy
up
bear.
front. Gummy bears.
Gummy bears break down every barrier. Nobody can ever get gummy bears and be terse. They
How can
cannot
you
be. You cannot be angry. You cannot be stubborn. You can't be mean if you're standing there holding gummy bears. It's gummy bears. Come on, it's candy.
Go find a
Shake
troop of
bear.
Girl Scouts, buy a bunch of Girl Scout cookies.
What?
Go,
Girl Scout
go
cookies?
find Girl Scout cookies.
Another thing that I do, which is an industry specific thing, I do a lot of work with home improvement companies. And a lot of these are contractors that have men in trucks out doing their contracting work. I'll call the receptionist if I'm having trouble with the gatekeeper and ask, how many trucks have you got out there? Oh, I got 12 trucks out. How many guys? Probably 20. All right, thank you. Hang up the phone. Go buy a 24-pack of Stout. Show up one Friday afternoon and just tell the receptionist, I just want to buy all of your guys in the trucks of beer. After work, if you could, just give everybody a beer. Walk away. Best icebreaker ever.
Works.
Beer.
Works.
Gummy bears and beer. This is my secret.
This is simple,
This
folks.
is-
You just
right.
take that and we're good.
Yeah.
That's
now,
it.
my bar is
Show over.
lower than most people's,
Yeah.
but gummy bears and beer. It really is my two staples.
So we talked about the mindset, hearing no, like listening, but I want to circle back to cold calling quickly because it's a habit that we should all have if we want to grow the business. Specifically, what do you do to get yourself psyched up, and how do you go about making those cold calls? Just hammering the phone. We'll start with you, Sarah. How do you go about it?
Well, you got to schedule it like anything. So it's one of those things, again, I'll go back to the fact that it was not something that I did naturally, and it's still one of those things I kind of psych myself up for. So I have to put on my schedule, and I have to honor it like an appointment, just like any other appointment that I would have with any other customer. Because naturally, what are you going to do if you don't honor that? Oh, this email popped up. Oh, this thing happened. I'm going to go do these other things that are just going to protect my ego and not actually get me paid. So honor it like an appointment, schedule it. Typically, there's, give you some stats. There's certain days of the week that are really good for doing cold calls. Typically, Thursdays are some of the best days. Tuesdays.
They're the worst days.
Oh, they're the worst days?
Do not call on Thursday
No?
mornings. Do
Okay.
not call. Monday mornings are when all of you all should call on your cold calls. We'll just do Thursday.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, there you go. Yeah. If you're in a
All
competing
you all,
industry,
you do Monday
don't call
mornings.
Thursdays. Yep.
We'll do Thursday.
Call Friday at about 4:30 p.m. too.
Don't call on Thursday mornings.
So you got to schedule it. You got to set yourself up. Practice. Do you have someone on in your office that you'd be able to practice a script? Now you don't want to script it out totally, but it's good to kind of get that going. Make a couple warm calls first. Call on some existing customers. Kind of jazz yourself up, and also give yourself grace. Sometimes you got to just stop, take a break, go get a cup of coffee, and get back to it. Those are my tips. I'm sure the cold call superstar here probably's got some other ones that you could suggest.
Well, they don't see you, so you can do whatever you want on the phone. Look at yourself in the mirror. You could be naked.
Dancing?
I mean, no, I'm just saying. It's just. This has gone really bad,
Had to make
and
it
it's being
weird.
recorded. I made it weird. No, but set the time. Set the time.
Oh, yeah.
Make sure that
Set
you
the time.
have an appointment. I always did it on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, actually, like between the 9 to 11 a.m. before lunch. But really just loosen yourself up and just do it and make yourself feel comfortable, and real easy breezy questions, not that whole recorded script where you're saying, hey, just talk to them. If they hang up on you, they hang up on you. Who cares? I mean, I know that's hard to say, but they're not hanging up on you. They're hanging up because they had the carpet cleaner guys coming and their babysitter's late and one of the kids just peed on the floor. They're not hanging up on you because they don't want to talk to you. They're hanging up on you because there's other things going on. So just take that with a grain of salt and not take it personal. And really, I always say discover. Discover the person, discover how you guys, it's all about partnerships. We always say the sale, the money. When it comes down to it, we're all here because we had a partnership with somebody. We're all here because we met somebody because of somebody else. So it's a partnership, whether you get money out of it or not. So it's essentially networking, but you just can't see them. I know that sounds silly, but that's kind of what it is.
JPAT told me I'm supposed to be altruistic and I'm not supposed to give you bad information so that I can keep the good information for myself.
Like you just did.
Like I just did.
Right.
So there is actually research that shows the best time to do cold calling is Thursday mornings. And just like Sarah, I set an appointment and I absolutely honor my appointment. And I do cold calling on Thursday mornings from 9 to 11 every single week without fail. There is no such thing as an appointment that a client can make with me between 9 and 11 a.m. on a Thursday. Funny thing though, my boss requires cold calling on Wednesday. So I just don't.
Salespeople kind of do whatever they want, don't they?
Well, and my numbers are good enough where I'm all right with, they're all right with that. The one thing that I want to bring up besides the Thursday thing is, I want to bring up two things. Number one, I go someplace. I don't cold call in my office. I cold call in the exact same place every single week. In fact, you'll be able to see me.
You could visit them.
You can visit me at the North Point Snack Bar overlooking Lake Michigan on Thursday mornings between 9 and 11 where I make my cold calls in my car. I don't want, the most embarrassing thing is having other salespeople listen to me. And it's kind of funny because my sales managers, I'm fairly good at cold calling and I'm very stubborn about making myself do it. It's not my favorite thing to do. I don't wake up on Thursday mornings and say, oh good, I get to go cold call. But I wake up on Thursday mornings and say I'm going to go cold call, and I drive someplace specifically to cold call so nobody can bug me while I'm doing it. I don't take incoming phone calls during that time, and I don't have other people listening over my shoulder. My managers, funny thing, they really would love it if I would cold call in the office where everybody else can listen over my shoulder, and I don't do it. And I apologize to them frequently, but it is what it is. My cold calling is my time. It's my time. And if you look at it that way, if you treat it as this sacred my time, you'll get a whole lot more done with it. Go someplace else. The second thing I want to bring up, everybody has their process. You have your list of call, mail. I never call first, ever. My first touch is a LinkedIn contact. I do research on the business. We're going to talk about researching the business a little bit later. But I do research on the business. I figure out who my key contacts are inside that business. And then I come up with a creative idea. Again, I'm in a creative space. I'm not in a product space. I come up with a creative idea, or I come up with a compelling reason why they might want to talk to me. For example, right now I am cold calling Big electrical contractors. I'm looking for a $60,000 to $100,000 electrical contract account that will spend $60,000 to $100,000 with me. So these are going to be big electrical contractors. My space, as a hobby, I spend a lot of time in the electric vehicle space. I'm a tree hugger, don't hold that against me. And it's one of my passion points, it's one of my hobbies, and I'm very much an environmentalist. EVs are a thing for me. Everybody who buys an EV needs to have a charging system installed in their house. That's one of the things that makes an EV possible. Electrical contractors don't do a good job of advocating for the EV space, even though they can make about $2,000 per car that's sold. And just this year, there were about 2,200 cars sold in just southeastern Wisconsin that are electric vehicles. That's 2,200 opportunities they had to make about $2,000. That's my value proposition. That's my valid business reason for calling them. And I call them, tell them, or I LinkedIn connect them and say, this is my particular passion. I'm very passionate, very well connected in the space of EVs. Every single one of these people who buys an EV needs to have a charging system installed. That could be between $500 and $2,000 per home for you. And I've got some ideas on how you might capture that market. I'd like to share them. Would you take my phone call? Most of the time I will get that connection. LinkedIn tells you when somebody connects with you. I've done my LinkedIn connection. The next thing I do is I mail a card with my business card in it so they know what phone number I'm going to be calling from. When you see this pop up on your caller ID, pick up the phone. If you would, I would love it if you would pick up. In fact, this is actually one of my cards. This is one of my, I wrote it upside down, so I had to rewrite it because, so there's the top of the card, but then I wrote it upside down, so I had to rewrite it, so I stuck it in my little book and brought it with me. And I hang my business card off the bottom. I highlight my cell phone number, which is the number I'll be calling them from because I'm calling from my car at the North Point Snack Bar. Everything they could want to know about me is in this. When I phone call them, when I make my first cold call to them, they have already had 2 touches. One of them a valid business reason in LinkedIn, and the second one a handwritten card that has all of my information in it. By the time I reach them on the phone, I just say thank you for all of the attention that you've given me. Thank you for all the time that you've already given me. Here is my way to help your business move forward. That's how I cold call. That's why I go down to the North Point Snack Bar. That's why I don't sit in the office and let people sit over my shoulder and listen to what I'm doing. They're not doing what I'm doing. They're not earning the person on the other end picking up that phone. You have to earn the other person picking up that phone. However you do it, write your own process. Write whatever it is that you want to do. Set your appointment, honor your appointment, treat it like it is your most sacred time, however you want to do it. But no, every single time somebody picks up the phone and says, yes, I will talk to you, know that you will have to have somehow earned that privilege to talk to that business owner or marketing director or whoever it is that you sell to. You have to earn that appointment.
Great stuff. And hearing a theme here, the clients of mine, the people I've worked with that are in the room, have heard me say ad nauseum, what's in it for me? You really have to understand what you're saying, at least, is what's in it for me if they were to work with me as a client. So that's how you lead the conversation to get their attention, to earn the phone call. That's essentially what you were saying. Help us, and we heard about your process. Tell us what a good job looks like. And this is rapid fire. You make 10 phone calls. How many times do you actually get somebody on the phone and get to make your pitch? Like, what does it, because you guys are really good, I'm terrible, so what does a good job look like for a pro when you're making 10 cold calls? Do you get 1 call back, 8 calls back? Like, how good is good? Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
I know it's a trick
loaded
question. I know it is, but it's easy to, right. If I were sitting in the audience right now or hearing you guys just like dunking on people about how good you are at selling, and I would be like, oh my gosh, okay, I'm writing things down, you're really giving us good stuff. But I would feel like wholly inadequate thinking, well, these guys close everything they pitch. And I know that's not true. So help us get some context on, you call 10 or 100 people. I mean, how many people are giving you attention so we can see what a good job looks like? Do you know what I'm saying?
I would say 2 out of 10. 2 or 3 out of 10
okay.
out of cold calls. If you get a hold of them.
Right.
I would say 2 or 3 out of 10.
Okay.
And that's good.
Does that sound right, Sarah? Is that what you agree with?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, it comes under preparation too. So if I just picked up the yellow pages and just started calling down, I'm not going to do very well because I have no strategy. I'm just like, hi, I'm Sarah, buy things for me.
doesn't
maybe that
work?
works. I don't know. I would say if I'm well prepared, it's probably like 4.
Okay.
4 in general.
One other thing I want to make sure we cover while we're all here is how a salesperson looks at a room like tonight or a networking event. How do you?
Oh, I
go
want
about-
all of your business cards. That's how I look at a room like tonight.
That's how you do
You're
it.
all-
Oh my
all their
gosh.
heads are
I want
business
all
cards?
of your business cards.
So how do you go about it? Like making relationships, and how do you approach a networking event? So Sarah, we'll start with you because you're a really killer networker. I met Sarah through networking, and that's how we started our relationship, and she's just a superstar when it comes to this. So how do you approach the activity of being in a room full of people you don't know?
Well, there's a couple different things. So one of the things you naturally do is you walk in and you go, oh God, I don't know anyone here. I feel so awkward. I'm gonna go to the bar, I'm gonna get a drink, and then I'm gonna stare at people until they talk to me. Not a good strategy. You have to be bold. You have to be bold. And if you need some liquid courage, we have a bar.
Bingo.
So
Let's
please,
go.
please have one, and that's totally cool. You have to be bold. You have to stick your hand up there. Hi, my name is Sarah Bauer. It's nice to meet you. What do you do? Ask them make it about them. Make it about them, not about you. Please, for the love of God, don't ever be the person at a networking event that's just dishing out your cards. Don't ever give someone your card until they ask for it. I'll repeat that. Don't ever give your card to someone until they ask for it. But, because if you are truly making it about them, if you're truly being curious, right, they will naturally ask for your card. And if they don't, they're a jerk. You shouldn't be talking to them anyways. It's just the truth of it. So be curious. Ask them, what do you do? Hi, my name is Sarah Bauer. What do you do? Tell me about your business. They might have a name tag on. Maybe they don't. Do you have a business card? Look at it. Don't just shove it in your pocket. Look at it. Oh, that's cool. Make it about them. Now, is it hard to do that? Yes, because you want to just spew everything about yourself on this person because you want the sale and you want their business and you want to meet and da-da-da-da. Make it about them. And the other thing that I will tell you is, please, for the love of God, don't go to a networking event without any of your business cards. That always ticks me off. Oh, I didn't bring any with me. Oh my gosh, you should always have business cards. Go home right now or go back to the office. I know every single one of you has a stack of business cards. If you don't, Angela from Minuteman Press over there can help you out. Give you the hookup.
There she is.
Yes, there you go. Put them in your wallet, put them in your purse, put them in your glove compartment, put them in the diaper bag, put them everywhere. It's just like having a stash of cash. You should always have at least 10 business cards on you at all times. You never know when you're going to need it because, yes, we're in a networking event right now, but always be networking. You're sitting at the bar having dinner with your spouse and maybe you bump into someone who you maybe want to work with. Always have those business cards on you. So scatter them throughout your life, and if they are torn, if they look awful, please throw them away and order more from Angela. So there you go.
Right. Alyssa, what do you do?
Well, it's a networking event, so we're all here to network. So don't be nervous about it. I mean, it's not like you're going into a bar where people are there to party and you're like, hey, network. We're all here to network. So introduce yourself. I think, just even if it's a quick, hi, I'm Alissa, I'm doing this. Who are you? Oh, I'm Tom, I'm doing this. So nice to meet you. And if nothing, you feel like there's no connection or nothing that you need to talk more about, no problem, you can move on. It's not a big deal. So when you go to a network, you're there to network. Don't be nervous about walking up to somebody. I know that's easier said than done, but legit, you're all there to talk to each other. So do it.
I would say jumping off of that too, do walk into an event, you do know a few people, don't talk to them. You're there to meet new people. Make it a point. People who network, don't take offense by that. You know what, Tiffany, I know you and don't take offense to this, but I see a couple people over there, I'll talk to you later. I know you. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
And if you know Sandra from Mary Kay, she knows everybody, so you go to her, and then she introduces you to everybody.
Jeff, how do you go about networking?
I'm all about goal setting. So when I go to a networking event, networking events for me aren't the number one. They're not a great way for me to find prospective clients. Usually, because again, I'm in a creative space, I have to come up with an idea, I have to come up with a reason, I have to come up with something that I can help somebody with. I don't have a thing that I'm selling. So networkings aren't my key thing, but when I do go to them, I set goals for myself. I do that for everything. I say I want to have 4 valuable conversations tonight. I'll go get my cocktail. I have my cards in my business pocket. Everybody learns something from somebody everywhere you go. I'm going to try that. That don't give somebody your business card until they ask for it. I am a guy who hands my business card out willy-nilly. I want everybody to know me. I'm going to try that.
All right.
But goal setting for me is the answer to your question.
Okay.
I always try to set four. I want 4 good conversations tonight. And then I give myself the reprieve. I say, okay, I accomplished my goal.
So we've got a couple of minutes left. There's a couple more things that I want to cover. I can't believe it's gone this fast, but the information you've shared has been fantastic. When we're talking about sales, let's assume for a second we've gotten to the point where it's time to ask for the money. It's time to close. Asking for the money that you want, not the money you think you can get. Asking for what you're worth, not what you think they'll pay. Let's talk about getting what you're worth and then some, and asking for the big dollars. So, Alissa, let's start with you. So, it's time to go get the cash. How do you do it boldly and ask for everything that you want?
They're meeting with you for a reason. They're not meeting with you because they have no budget. And they will say, ooh, I don't have a budget. And you'll say, hey, no problem, I get it. Can you give me kind of a bandwidth, a range of where your budget may be? Starting from 0 to 30,000, where do you think you would stand that we can work this out? I'm here to help you, you're here to help me. We have a partnership. I know we don't want to talk about money because talking about money is awkward and it's weird and it sucks. But do you have kind of a bandwidth of where, and then they'll go, well, I could squeeze out about 700 or maybe 1,000. If they say 700, that's the lowest, which means there is 1,000, maybe 1,500 in that budget. So kind of use that to give yourself hey, great, this is what I could do with that budget. How does that sound to you? And they'll go, okay, well, I really actually like that thing. Could we add that on? No problem. And then you're starting to talk about money, but not in the sense of actual dollars. You're just kind of trying to figure out where the partnership would be. With media, it's different because I would say, okay, I can give you some added value with web or social media or things like that. Some of you have product that doesn't work with that, but you can also give them social media and web on your own product pages. So don't forget about that you guys can give them that added value. You can do a social post like, I'm so happy to be working with this partner. We met the other day, had coffee. Did you know that Sarah plans trips and saved the Miller family from hell and snow and polar vortex when they were leaving for Florida? And she was there and she rerouted their trip and got them early flights. I can't wait to book with Sarah to help me plan my next vacation. You can help people with that. That's added value right there that you've put on your own business site to promote your partner. So I kind of went off the tangents there, but that gives you an idea kind of talking about budget.
When I'm talking about money, I almost never talk about money. And both Sarah and Alissa have alluded to this. I'm just going to position it with different words. I almost never talk about money. In my world and in a lot of people's worlds, business owners, marketing directors, the 80-20 rule applies. Everybody's heard of the 80-20 rule. If anybody wants to go to my LinkedIn, I've got some really great articles on this in my LinkedIn profile. The 80-20 rule in my world is 20% of the project is deciding what to buy. 80% of the project is deciding who to buy it from based on what they're going to help you do with it. Media, creative. You just bought 130 commercials on a particular radio station. Yay, you own 130 minutes on this radio. What are you going to do with it? Owning radio spots isn't going to do you anything. Owning TV spots isn't going to do anything. Owning web advertising isn't going to do anything. What are you going to do with it? That's how you really get something done. So 20% of the project is deciding what to buy. 80% is deciding who to buy it from. I talk about who to buy it from when I get to this point. Then, when it finally comes time to ask for a decision, I follow my question. I follow my closing question with the response that I want. So that's what I have to offer. Can we work together? Please say yes.
And you say it just like that.
I absolutely say it just like that. Can we work together? Please say yes.
He doesn't take a breath, as he said.
Can we work together?
Please say yes.
It works. It's so, and everybody who sees me do it's like, oh my God, that's awesome. Wow. That's how low my bar is. That's my takeaway for you all tonight. Please say yes.
So how about money for you when it's time to ask for the sale?
So I don't sell a service that is, ancillary. You have to use my service in your business. It's just whether you're going with me or going with someone else. So for me, it's selling me. But I'll kind of talk a little bit about the value-added piece. Absolutely, from a LinkedIn perspective, I always try to find lots of different reasons as to why this person's going to spend this amount of money with me. That I'm going to be that partner. It is about selling yourself, right? At the end of the day, you can buy from me or any one of my 2,000 competitors out there, but really, what are we really buying from? We're buying from people. Especially living in the Midwest, and it's very, very prevalent that people buy from people. They want that relationship. That is what they are buying. They're not buying the company. They could care less what company's on my business card. They're buying kind of person. So when we talk about money, I mean, yeah, that's going to cost you money. It's going to cost you a lot of money to process credit cards. That's what I do. That's what I sell. Okay, cool. Let's talk about all the other things that we're going to do to make your life easier. And two things real quick. Don't show all your cards. Don't show all your cards at the beginning. Don't just assume discounts. Discounts will bring down the value. Start with a discount. I mean, they're ready to start negotiating discount. Why discount? Why would you discount your product? I mean, yeah, you can, but why start there? So hold the bar high. Or low, that works too, I guess. Hold the bar high, start high, and also pre-qualifying. So if you are selling a product or service that maybe they don't necessarily need in their business, ask those questions on the front end. Even maybe when you're setting the appointment, maybe you think that they're going to have $700, they actually have $5. Okay, well, wow, this is probably worth my time to even have that conversation with you.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's been a great discussion so far, and before we end it, I want to make sure that we give you a chance to share anything that you hadn't shared as of yet, some closing comments or something like that. So if you have any final thoughts that you want to share, Jeff, before we go, because we've got some great giveaways we're going to do, and we're going to talk about the next Brand Crafted event. But all three of you have done a great job sharing information, and really, I learned a lot, and I hope you guys did as well. Is there anything that you haven't shared that you'd like to share before we go?
Nothing that I haven't shared, but one thing that I want to reinforce, cold calling does not hurt. No one ever got hurt cold calling.
Okay.
No, there's truth to that.
No, it's true. I will say that it's okay to break up with a client. And I said this before. Sometimes it's not a good partnership. Sometimes you are working so hard for someone and it's not a partnership. These are about partnerships, and it's okay to break up, and they're not going to be ready for it. I've actually said, wait a second, you're telling me that you don't want me buying advertising from you anymore? And how I always say it is, I don't think I'm getting you what you want and what you need. I think maybe this partner could help you out more, or this partner could help you out more. And it does put things into perspective where they go, wow, maybe I'm requesting something that is completely not real. They're hard on you. They call you all the time. They're really setting that it's okay. It's okay to break up with someone and move on to somebody else who will be a quality partnership. So I always say that. It's okay to break up. It's all right.
Anything?
Prospecting. It's not something you just do occasionally. You do have to do it all the time. So honoring that in your schedule, and being organized. I mean, it's one thing to go out and do 50 cold calls, but if you don't take any notes on it, you never call any of those people back or follow up with a note, that was a lot of wasted time that you'll never get back. So it's a continual process. Be organized, use technology. There's so many different things out there. Heck, use a good old-fashioned pen and paper. Yes, they do still sell those. Whatever system works for you, just always be prospecting, keeping that in your schedule and keeping that pipeline full, whatever the product or service it is that you're selling.
Well, as a part of my business, Small Step Solutions, it was my hope that we could get a group of people on Facebook together where we could all learn from one another and try and get something out of our relationships. So if you're not in the Facebook group, Brand Crafted, please join, because it's events like this and super smart people like this that I want to hear more from, and I hope you got something out of tonight. So let's give them a big round of applause and thank them for their information tonight. I really appreciate it.